Dougie Fresh, you're on. How come we never open none of these with the Eye of the Tiger?
Copyright.
Huh?
Are you ready?
Yeah. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show, Boxing Basics, with your host, Tony the Tiger Lopez, three-time world champion boxer, and I'm your co-host, Glenn Spillman, our producer, Dan Kintz, in the background here, and he will be taking all of your questions. So at any point in time during the show, feel free to ask Tony a question, and Dan will relay that to us. Also, do not forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it to get notices for all the other stuff that we've got going on. We've got the Boxing Basics going on. We've got the podcast going on. And anything that we've got put up here, hit that bell and it will ring you whenever it comes up.
Like it too.
And
That would
like
help.
it.
That would help.
That would help.
Right.
And hey, we have a few more subscribers than we had a month ago. We've got like 50 more. So we appreciate all you new people coming and subscribing to the channel. And we're just going to keep climbing and keep climbing. And we've been gone for a couple of weeks. Tony's been out of town taking care of business. Went to Vegas, take care of a business there. Had a good time. I'm sure Vegas is always a good time.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
but what happens in Vegas stays in
in
Vegas. So,
You know.
yeah. So, what do you got on the horizon? Anything on the horizon coming up that you want to plug real quick?
I always got something on there.
Always.
Well, I'm going to get a guest coming next week.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, we're going to have a guest. Can't tell you who he is.
Okay.
Surprise guest. And then...
Surprise. I like surprise.
It might be a surprise for me, too. I'm kidding. No, you know what? It's just getting stuff done. Still doing movies.
Yeah.
Try to get my name out there. That helps, try to let people know what I'm doing. So I'm doing movies. Still going to the gym.
Right.
Go to the weight gym while I go to the boxing. I have a boxing in my garage.
Right.
And once in a while I'll get in there until, my wife comes in and fills it full of stuff and blocks my bag where I can't hit it. So that causes problems. But other than that, living the dream.
Living the dream.
That's right.
Living the dream. So we've been doing the boxing basics, the basics. And now we have a few people that have been coming to the gym to train with you. So let's talk about that. That we've stepped it up a notch, and we've gone through everything boxing basics. So now a lot of the instructional videos, the one-on-one instructional videos, will be more of the intermediate realm. But let's talk about the kids that we've got coming into the gym now training with you.
It's for them. It's and I train even on these videos. These videos are actually how I would train somebody every day. So these are stuff that you should do every day if you can. But if you really want to box, you can't do it every day. Maybe you shouldn't box. If you just want to get in shape, maybe put some leg muscles in your legs. You can get better calves. Better conditioning. This is going to help you. If you want to just learn how to defend yourself a little bit better. As we start going into the intermediate and higher advanced than that, it's going to start getting a little bit complicated. So, you can always go back and watch the videos so that you have that always going for you. And I would if I was you, especially if you don't have a partner to work out with, because it's always easier to work out in pairs. Because sometimes you may not get it, but they do, or vice versa. And all you do is watch them, and they can help you. So it's always easier. And if you don't, and again, if you want to come into the gym, come down to the gym, 24th and J, right behind the
Dessert Diner place.
Yeah. That's a bad place for gym. But come on down. The little fee is for the gym, not for us. But because it's their gym, it's not our gym, and it's a nice gym. And come on out, do a class with us, do a class every week with us. We don't care. Come on out, show us your video, bring us your video, show us your video, do whatever you got to do, and we'll critique you. We're not going to talk smack about you, but we're going to help you. I mean, everybody in the beginning needs help. Everybody does. Nobody doesn't do it right. Everybody's going to feel stupid how they're doing. Oh, I feel stupid doing this. Well, of course you do, because you haven't done it before. But you got to get past that. Once you get past that, and once the footwork is done, the rest will fall in place. If you don't do the footwork, don't try to do the punching, don't try to do the defense, don't try to do any of that, because it's not really going to work for you. You go, what? I'll talk a lot of smack, but
That's all right.
Look at half the fighters today. Look at their footwork. They don't have any. If the foundation is broken, the building's going to fall. It's the same for boxers. If your footwork ain't down, you're going to fall. I'm telling you. My thing for how Pacquiao got so great, and he's done a lot for boxing. He really has. Not talking smack about him at all. But the people that fought him, you had world contenders, world champions that were going right hand, were moving to the right on a southpaw. Why would you do that? You're moving into his power hand. I mean, if they had the right footwork and had any, I don't know, decent trainers, would have told them, hey, pendejo, go to your left. Use your straight right first. Use the lead right hand. You always need to use a lead right hand, but majority of the time, use a lead right hand on a southpaw. Because they're right in line for your right hand. It's this far away. You keep your lead foot on the outside of his lead foot, puts you in position. But most of the time, if you watch it, you had right-handers moving to the right, and their foot was on the inside of Pacquiao's lead leg, and that puts you right in line with his straight left. I mean, why would you do that? The guy hits hard. Avoid it.
Right.
So there's a lot of little things about boxing that is going to come out, and it's going to help you get better yourself. Especially when we get to defense. Defense is not the easiest thing to learn. It takes daily. You should do defense on a daily, even if you do it for 3 rounds a day with a partner. You have to have a partner when you do defense, or someone throwing punches at you. You have to do it. I would do at least minimum 3 rounds a day, every day, all on you. Just simple stuff, and don't get mad if you don't get it. Defense is hard to get. Keep your eyes on your opponent's eyes. You'll see the punch coming if you concentrate. And watch. Don't get mad at yourself. Don't get down on yourself because your footwork ain't 100% correct, or you keep doing something wrong, or you keep making mistakes over and over again. Well, that's what you're practicing. You're not supposed to, but if you make mistakes, it's time to correct them. So don't get mad at yourself at that. Don't try too hard. If I tell any of my people that I train, is the first thing I tell them, don't try too hard. The harder you try, the less you're going to learn. It's that simple. The easier you just go do it, just do it. Don't try to do it, just do it. And it'll fall in place. I mean, that's how easy boxing really is. It's not algebra.
Right, no, thank God for that.
Yeah, right? It's not algebra. Hell, it's not even math, It's that easy. You just got to do it. Don't put too much into it. And it'll happen, That's what really needs to happen.
So started off with 1, and then the next week we had 2, and then the next week we had 3 people come in that you're training. Let's talk a little bit about what you think that, I know that you ask, are you training, with them, you're asking them to train an hour a day.
Yeah.
And a couple of them said, yeah, I'm training an hour a day. So 1, they're either not training an hour a day, or 2, they're training an hour a day the wrong way, and you catch them like that quick. So let's talk about that.
Well, number 1, if they're not training an hour a day, I mean, I've been boxing for what,
48 years.
48 years now. I kind of know you're not doing it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You should have that down by now. If not, go play hopscotch.
Right.
For real. I mean, it's not that hard. So, if they are doing it, it shows. And as well as I do, there's a couple guys in that thing that are doing it. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Age has a lot to do with it. So when they're young, you can't, you let the younger ones just do what they do.
Right.
As long as they're kind of getting it, you let them do what they do because they're young. You know, they're not going to be as dedicated. Some kids are though. But most of your kids aren't going to be as dedicated as a teenager or someone who's 15, 16, 17. Or even a young adult that will take the time out of their schedule to every hour this week I'm going to practice this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And they do it. And it'll show. we're getting a lot of subscribers now, and we're getting a lot of people that are watching, paying attention, and it's good, but it's even better if you ask questions. It's better if you send us a video so we can see what you're doing. We ain't gonna make fun of you. We don't do that. We want to help you. If we're not gonna put you on blast, we're gonna look at it ourselves. We're not gonna show your video going, "Hey, look at this." We're not gonna do any of that. We'll watch your video and we'll talk about it. We'll tell you how to correct it. And again, if you want to come into the gym, it's not my gym, so there is fees for that, but it's only a day of the week, or if you want to train by the month, because it is a gym. You want to go down to the gym and train every day. That's totally up to you. There's different prices for all that. That downtown, midtown fitness and boxing is really good. They'll give you a day charge or a month charge, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
They're really good. They work really well. So just in saying that alone, if you don't do it, if you just watch the videos and not really, even if you really don't want to fight, when all of this is said and done, as we start to proceed more, because we're going to start getting into a little bit, from this point on, it's going to get a little bit more exciting. Not so, I'd say boring, because footwork is kind of boring, but it's not going to be as boring, because now we're going to start learning how to do defense, learn how to move on your feet with punches the correct way. We're going to start doing side steps, moves, blocking. Now, there's more than one defense. There's four types of defense. Moving your head, there's parrying and blocking, and then there's the feint, a fake, a feint. There's a lot of stuff we still got to do, and it all works, So it's going to be it's going to get a little bit more exciting from here on out.
Right. And speaking of the dessert diner that's right by the boxing gym, there's been a lot of questions of people talking about, nutrition. How should I, one question was, is there a different way of eating as a boxer than there is if I just want to lose weight?
Yeah, kind of. Not a lot, but that's a good question though. And for that question, I'll get a better guy to answer that question, because this is what he did. He was my dietitian when I was fighting, and he could answer that a lot better than I do. And you know what? We can get him on here too. He was my dietitian while I was training, and he did a lot better than I did it. Because I did it the old school way. I started training when I was in '73. You're going 1973? That was a year. I started training in '73, and back then, what you do to lose weight, you starved yourself, and you just stopped eating and kept training. That's and then you grow up that way, and maybe that's why I'm so short. I started my growth, but no, you just stop, and I just stopped eating for sometimes 2 or 3 days at a time.
Wow.
And you were still working out. Back then, as a kid, you're working out twice a day. You run in the morning, you train in the afternoon. And then as I got older, when I started hitting 29 and a half, it started getting harder to make 130. And I couldn't make it anymore, but I'll throw his name out there, Brian Elkins. He used to be a Mr. Olympia or something like that.
Okay.
He was a big old bodybuilder dude. But his thing was nutrition. His education is about nutrition. And so I don't even remember how I got hooked up with this guy. I think he just called me one day, and out of the blue, and we started talking. I gave him my number. He seemed like a nice guy. So I think he called me on my bell phone or something.
Right.
No, because I didn't have bell bonds then. I don't remember how he called me, but he called me, got my number. He called me, and we hit it off. And then he started helping me diet for my fights, and he made it really, really easy for me. He told me to eat 6 times a day. I'm going, dude, if I eat 6 times a day, bro, I'm not going to make 160.
Right.
You know what I mean? But no, it was actually really easy to make 130, and I made 130 when I was working with him about 4 days prior to the fight. So you're by the time fights happen, you're really strong at 130. Although I still climbed in the ring at 160. I know everybody goes, I gained 30 pounds overnight. And it was really easy, And then when I walked into the ring, I was still hungry. I remember they did that years after I retired. I guess Gotti did it or something like that, and they made a big deal about it because he really jacked somebody up or something like that. I'm going, I've been doing that for years. I've been doing that since I was in the amateurs. I've done it my whole life. What's the big deal? I did all the work I need to do to get down to a weight that I can make and get on the scale and make 130. So now you're gonna try to punish me by saying, "Oh, we have to weigh you in before you fight." Yeah, it's crazy. It's just changing times. People want to go, "Oh, you can't do that." It's a fight.
Right.
I'm training you to fight. I'm not training you to pick daisies. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's got to be hardcore. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And we'll get into that in training too.
Right.
We're into a lot of aspects of fighting where it can help you in the ropes and outside the ropes. It's a very good. It works in both fields. So.
And another question was during the training and the boxing and the learning and whatnot. There are people out there. There's actually been a few of these questions that people that like their beer, and one gentleman says it's hard for me to give up my beer and to I could probably cut down a little bit, but give it up altogether. Is that going to be a hindrance to his training?
No, I wouldn't think. Watch, you fighting for a world title? You fight for money? If it is, it might. You know what I mean? I mean, because if you're 154 pounds, kind of soft, but you can make 140 pounds solid, well, you're gonna fight better at. Because at 154, they're gonna hit you a lot harder than they would at 140.
Right.
So. That's totally up to you. I mean, everybody's different. People that are watching the film, most of them don't want to fight. Most of them just want to get in shape. And that's fine. You can have a little bit everything in moderation.
Right.
Don't drink a 6-pack a day. You drink a 6-pack a day, dude, you're gonna need more than training.
Right.
A doctor, no. I'm kidding. But you know what I mean. Everything in moderation. I'm not saying to stop drinking beer. I'm just saying stop indulging in beer.
Right.
Don't go out every night and get tore up and expect to lose weight or get in better shape.
Right,
It's not
right.
going to happen. Common sense will tell you that. But and if you can, buy a jump rope, go in the garage before you come on. If we come on tomorrow, if it's 8 o'clock, we start at 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
8, yes.
Start at 8. Get in the garage at 7:30 and jump rope for a half hour. Get warmed up. Because if you just start doing it, you're cold. You got to warm up first. If you've been practicing your footwork and your jabs and a little bit of head movement, try doing that before it even starts tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Get warmed up, and then once you warm up, then as you get into it, you'll get more. That's what it's all about. When I walked into the gym, that's one thing I never really did. I never really warmed up. But my warm up was shadow boxing. That was my warm up. You walk into the gym, you shadow box, for 4 rounds, you jump rope for 4 rounds, and then you got 8 rounds in already, and then you start training. Then you start hitting the bag, sparring or doing whatever you're gonna do.
Right.
Speed, but you got sparring, heavy bag. Sparring you can do any days, 8 rounds to 6 rounds to 12 rounds, 15 rounds, whatever
Wow.
you got going on that day. That's after you shadow box for your 4 and jump rope for 4. Then you start sparring for how many rounds you're gonna spar that day. Then after you're done sparring, you go to the heavy bags sometimes you don't. Then you hit the heavy bag for maybe 2 or 3 rounds. Then after the heavy bag, you got to do something else. There's always something to do. So after the heavy bags, you do exercises. You do exercises in your necks and your stomachs. You do all that stuff. Then you take a shower and go home. Call it a day. Back in my day when I used to do that, I would wear. I'd wear. Abilene is a women's makeup.
Okay.
Here's something for you guys. Abilene is to take off women's makeup, I guess, right? Yeah. It also make you lose a lot of weight. What we used to do as fighters is we used to rub it on over our bodies. And whatever you have it on, you're going to sweat. If you put a piece of Abilene and you rub it on your finger like this, and you go work out, right here it's going to be all wet.
Oh, wow.
You're going to sweat. It'll make you sweat like a pig. It really does. It works really good. But remember, when you sweat, you're only taking off liquid weight. You're not really losing weight. Well, you can if you watch your water intake. That's what boxers do. They watch their water intake, and that's when they use the Abilene. But as soon as you take a big drink of water, there it goes. It goes right back into your body. So, you got to really be, boxers when you're younger could do that and get away with it. Everybody now goes, oh no, dude, they can't do that. Hey man, you got to do what you got to do to get in the ring. You know what I mean? And now they found out a lot more on how to do it. You have all these dietitians that are a lot smarter than we were, and if you can't afford a dietitian, common sense will do it. Stay away from breads, stay away from heavy stuff, and watch your diet a little bit. Eat 6 meals a day if you can. Small meals. Make a normal meal, cut it in half, eat it. 3 hours later, eat the other half. And do that all day long until you go to bed. If you eat 7, 8 meals a day, then go ahead and do it. You got to feed your body for your body so that your body goes, hey, I don't need all this food.
Right.
Starts grabbing your stored fat and you're getting rid of it. And that's how it really has to work. Again, that's not my forte. That'll be my friend's forte. We'll have him come on the show and we'll talk about nutrition and stuff like that, and he'll tell you all about it. So yes, we'll have a guest on here, and you can always kick back to that channel. And again, if you have questions for him, you got to ask.
Yeah, ask.
Or we might not even answer a question. We might even talk about the topic if you don't bring it up. If you have questions now, okay, my footwork ain't really working that way, or my body's doing this when it looks like it's doing that. Ask us. I mean, if you don't ask, you'll never know. No such thing as a dumb question. And it's learning. It's how we do it.
Right.
We're here to help you.
Right. Another question that came in is, what are some of the top tier things to do for cardio? Because it's a 2-tier question. Number one, they notice on themselves that when they get into the second round, definitely the third round, they start to gas out. So what are some of the top tier things to do for their cardio?
You know what? It's probably your running. Really. I did wind sprints. I didn't do a whole lot of them, but you should. I didn't do any. I didn't do a little bit, but I didn't do a million of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when I ran, I ran. I didn't jog. I ran. If I ran 7 miles that day, I ran 7 miles that day. Everybody's going to be different. My body style is not the same as yours. My wind is not the same as yours. Even as a youngster, training at 10 years old, you have to run. Because you're exerting energy in there. First of all, when you get the first thing that happens when you get in a fight, you go like this. You tense up. Well, guess what? That takes energy. When you start breathing hard and you're going to get ready to fight, that takes energy. It takes a lot of air out of you. Learn to breathe. Even while you're boxing, I think in one of the videos we talked about that. Did we not? Or did I talk about that in my head? But learn to breathe. Learn to tighten your stomach and breathe still. Being able to talk, be able to do all that stuff. You got to learn how to do that. And we'll talk about that in a video at one of the gyms, maybe tomorrow night. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Because there's a way to do it, and it's I don't really want to talk about it here, but there's a way to do it. How I learned to do it is tighten up your stomach and learn to breathe, and go around hitting yourself all day long, and you'll get used to it. And guess what? You do, because when you fight, I've never been dropped with a body shot. I've been hit really hard by body shots. It never fazed me.
Yeah.
Never got caught slipping. But there's ways to do all kinds of stuff, and your body will automatically do it if you train it to do it. It's amazing what you learn about your body. I mean, I remember being a kid and doing all this crazy stuff and losing the weight like I did and doing all this crazy stuff to my body. I'm going, man, I had my ring doctor, Stephen Barad. It was from State's doctor here in Sacramento. It was always in a lot of my all my fights, all my big fights, and he always asked me. He goes, man, the way you diet, dude. He goes, you're killing your body. He goes, this is what he really told me. He goes, you're killing your body. He goes, man, you're gonna be broke down by the time when you're 10 years after you retire, you're gonna be in a wheelchair or something, man. He goes, you're killing your body. You can't do that. I go, well, I've been doing it for my whole life. I've never really thought of nothing else, And this is as a pro. He's telling me I'm killing my body. So one time after I retired, he calls me. He goes, hey man, we're having a horse show at the house, and I want you to come on out and see the house and blah blah blah. So we said okay, because we still talk to him. We're still really good friends. And so he's just good people. And then so me and my wife went to his place in Eldorado Hills, and I get out of the car, we pull up, we park, and as I get out of the car, he starts walking towards the car. I go, "Hey, Steve, what's up, man?" He goes, "Hey," "You're walking?" And I had forgot all about this conversation.
Right.
Prior to this, 'cause, yeah, dude. What do you think I'm doing? How do you think I got here, dude? I can walk, drive myself. And he goes, "Man," it's amazing that you're not in bed. He goes, "That you're not tied to a bed." He goes, "Remember that time?" And he reminded me of the time he told me about, how I died and this side. He goes, "Man," "You're a miracle." He goes, "You should be on a deathbed. You should be on your bed, ready to pass.
Wow.
There's no way in the world that anybody could do what you did." He goes, "That was crazy." I go, "But I've been doing it my whole life. My body really didn't know any different. That's how it survived. People ask me, how you gained 30 pounds overnight? Well, it was fairly easy. I walked into the ring hungry. I truly believe that, your body will react and change the way you make it react and change. If it's like a fight, you go into a fight, if you're scared, you're probably going to get your butt whooped. Not every time, because I've seen some tall, skinny, scared guys do pretty good because they're so scared.
Yeah.
But majority of the time, it's not going to be to your benefit. The first time you get hit hard and you're scared, you're probably going to quit because you don't want to get hit hard because you're already scared. Get that scaredness past your head, out of your head, and think, okay, today's a good day to die. And it's a crazy way to say it, and I know it is, but this is the way I said it every time I fought. Every time before I stepped in the ring, I go, today's a good day to die. And today's my day, I'm going to die fighting because I'm not going to be running. You can't name one fight in as an amateur or a pro where I ran. I didn't run from anybody. I'm not going to run from anybody. I'm not saying I'm going to whoop the world either, though. But, if I take a butt whooping, okay, I'll take it, but you're going to take some lumps too. You're not going home scotch-free. You're going to pay for it, And my thing is, I'm not the baddest person in the world. I'm not the baddest person on this block. But you know what? You mess with me and we fight, you're going to be hurt too. If I hurt, you're going to be hurt a lot worse. Right. I remember, I'm used to it, and that's just, I think it's a lot of it's mentality on how like, if you walk like a victim, you're probably going to be a victim.
Right.
If you walk with a little bit of an attitude or your head high, like you're very positive about how you're doing, no one's probably going to really mess with you. I've seen people look at me. I'm an old guy. I'm 58. I'm old. I get it. You see some little young kids, they're in their early 20s, and they're talking smack. They might be out for the night. I don't really go to bars anymore. I might go to a local bar, what I mean? I'm not going to clubs. I'm too old for all that. But, you walking downtown K Street Mall and all the bars and stuff, and everybody, that's for everybody. That's a breezeway. That's everybody goes to. You get these little kids that look at you, dude, don't even think about it. I don't play. Right. And so, it's all about attitude. Even with the boxing classes, this classes is to help you get a little bit more positive attitude of what you can do. Because remember, you can do anything. You can do anything that God puts in front of you. That was my attitude. I can do anything. I can become anybody that I want to. I can do anything that I want to do. I don't need the approval of other people to do what I want to do. I do what I want to do because I want to do it. That's always been my mentality. That's the way I was brought up. My dad brought me up to you do what you want to do, but you do it the right way. Don't do this. Don't steal. Don't do this. I was brought up right. Was I a little rambunctious when I was a kid? Of course. I grew up in South Sacramento. I had to be a little bit rambunctious. You know what I mean? But with that quick belt and of my dad's always kept me a little bit in line, Right. But we're still kids and we're still gonna do what we gotta do, And maybe that's where I got used to getting hit. After a while, it didn't bother me. Okay. The party was on and kicking. I was staying there at the party. But it's just the way it is. So when you take these boxing classes, it's an attitude. Remember, boxing's easy. It's not hard. If you think it's hard, you're gonna make it hard. if you think footwork is hard to do, it's probably one of the toughest things in boxing to do. Everything else is fairly easy. And if you can kind of just let yourself do it, rather than trying to kill yourself and going, oh man, my feet are too close. Oh, my feet are too far apart. Or my legs ain't right. Relax. Everybody's different. You'll get it. Again, send your videos in and we'll help you. If you don't send us any videos in, we'll never know, and you may not ever do it right. Even with your defense or your punching, maybe you're punching excellent, and you don't need any help. Just okay, dude, keep doing what you're doing. Maybe you're not. Maybe you have spaghetti arms, and they're not solid arms. They're not solid punching. Maybe you're not popping your shoulder. Maybe you're not snapping your punches. There's a lot of things to it. So, if you don't send in your videos, or we can't see you really doing it, or you don't come down to the gym was it Tuesdays?
Every Tuesday night.
Every Tuesday night, then we're never going to know, and neither will you, and you don't want to get in a fight and find out you're not doing it right.
Right, exactly.
That would be bad news. So, you want to pop us with some of your videos and show us what you got going, and or come on down to the gym on Tuesday nights and, pay the fee that they ask you to pay. 'Cause again, it's not for us. It's just what we're doing is just for your benefit, not for ours. Well, not for mine anyway. I kind of know what I'm doing, right?
Right, exactly.
So, but hey, man, we're just trying to give back and see what happens for it.
Yeah. Another question. It has nothing to do with nutrition, but it's about food. They want to know what you like to eat after the fight. Was it the same thing? Like, man, after each fight, I'm really looking forward to this. Was there a specific food that you liked, or did you have something different after each fight?
I think it was different after each fight. Because you eat so healthy during the fight, for the training. Mm-hmm. Dude, I love a burger, man. Don't get it twisted. But I'll tear a burger up. But but after you're so healthy and your body changes, it really does. That's a trip. It really does. You eat so healthy, your body is so in shape that even a burger right away, doesn't taste as good. You eat it because you're hungry, because you want it, and it tastes good, but it doesn't really taste good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not like you would expect, because your body's so pure. It trained for 2 months, and in 2 months, you eat nothing but healthy. You train hard. Your body's a machine, and it's fine tuned. And now you want to give it a burger? Your body's going, hey, what's this? So it doesn't taste the same. But my favorite food was my mom's tortillas. Beans, rice, and tortillas, man. You know what? I don't care if there was meat in there or not. Beans, rice, and tortillas was good for me. I love that stuff. And my mom still makes us tortillas once in a while. But she's been making tortillas ever since I could remember. And her family grew up in Colusa County, right, just north of Sacramento. And my mom's job as a child was to make all the tortillas for the workers on the farm. They used to maintain a farm. Mm-hmm. And her job, she had sisters too, so all the sisters had jobs, and all the men had to eat in the morning before they went to work. So my mom had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning before school to make the tortillas and everything for the workers. And so she'd make her tortillas, and she makes stacks of tortillas like this. Wow. So every day, while I was growing up, I kid you not, I got stacks of homemade tortillas like this, flour tortillas. And that's, no kidding, that's a stack about that high. And so all my friends would come, I was hanging out with my buddies, so we'd come running to the house, we'd put some butter, tortillas, because they were warm.
Right.
She was just making them. You could smell them in the neighborhood. And then all my friends would come running, and we grab 4 or 5 tortillas a piece, man.
Wow.
And then we'd go running outside and do whatever we're doing, Mm-hmm. And then, or we always had some kind of meat with it, but it was always beans, rice, and maybe some chicken or whatever it was, But those tortillas were to die for, man.
Oh, man.
I know. Now I'm hungry.
Yeah, making me hungry, dude. Oh, yeah. So can you tell, obviously, this might be a dumb question, but can you tell if I set like 3 or 4 different tortillas in front of you, could you tell the difference between like what your mom used to make compared to maybe a store-bought one that claims to be like grandma used to make?
Not by looks, but by taste.
Yes, by taste.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my mom didn't use all the fatty stuff because my dad had all the cholesterol and all that. He had all them. He had to take 1 million pills a day, and well, it seemed like 1 million pills a day, but he had all the stuff that Mexicans normally have.
Right.
And so my mom had to make everything with non-fat.
Oh.
So her tortillas were very, very, very low in fat, if anything. She just what's so funny is I have a video of my mom making tortillas. I did it for my daughter. She lives in Florida, Tatiana. She lives in Florida. She lives in Tampa. And so she goes, "Hey, Dad, can you get Grandma to send me a thing on making tortillas?" I go, "She's not going to show you how to make tortillas." She goes, "She'll never do that." She goes, "Why?" I go, "Because she doesn't want to put no one through that. Because once you learn how to make them and make them good, everybody wants them.
Right.
And you never get a break." She says, "I'm not doing that." So I asked my mom, and she goes, "Come on, ask Grandma. Tell her I want to know." Okay. And she said, "Yeah."
Oh, wow.
So, and she has stayed with us for a few days. So, one day I just picked up my phone and I said, "Okay, Mom, start from scratch on how to do it." And she water, some flour, and whatever stuff she had, and started making tortillas all the way from start to finish. And so I sent it to my daughter, and I never even asked if she does it.
Oh, wow.
But but she did it. My mom did it, and I don't know I think Tot did it one time.
Yeah.
I call her Tot. Her name's
Yeah.
Tatiana. I call her Tot. Yeah. Oh, that's another one. If you ever in Florida and you want to buy a house, see my daughter Tot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tatiana.
Is she a real estate agent, or does she just buy and flip houses?
She does. I think she's. I really don't know. I think she buys, flips houses.
Yeah.
She does property management.
Okay.
Buys, sells. Oh, she is a real estate agent. I think she's a real estate agent. I think she does yeah, she does. Because she sells houses. So she sells houses. She puts people's in houses. She does property management. Mm-hmm. She also does flips. She flips her own. Her husband flips houses.
That's some. If you do it right, that's good money, man.
Yeah, they've been doing it for years, so they're doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a little worker.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's a worker.
Awesome. This is an opinion question.
Okay.
That came in. They, after watching the show, they know that sometimes you watch MMA, most of the time you don't, or whatever. But this has nothing to do with watching it or who, what, or where, or when, or why. But as far as the pay structure goes, you've got different entities of MMA. You've got King of the Cage. You've got West Coast Fighting Championship. You've got Titan. You've got all these local entities. And then you have the big one, UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. So what are your thoughts on some of these guys that go in, they might do a fight and might make $100, $200 on a fight, and then you go to the UFC, and the undercard, you're surprised to know that maybe a guy only makes $1,000 for the early prelim fights, and then you got your prelims and you got your main card. So what are your thoughts on how low the fighters get paid in the UFC compared to boxers? It's just a personal opinion.
Well, they're making $1,000 a fight.
Some of them are.
Why are they complaining? My first fight, I made $300.
Wow.
4-rounder, but I made $300. Hey, you know what? If you're a fighter, you're not fighting for the money. Because here's the way I always looked at it. I never fought for the money. I fought to win fights. I ain't got to worry about the money. That's what the managers are for. Mm-hmm. That's what the attorneys are for. That's what all those people are for. That's not what I'm for. I'm there to win fights. The more you win, the more you make. Bottom line. I mean, so it's not the fighter's job to worry about how much money he's going to win. That's his manager's job. And, but today everybody gets in everybody else's business. It's all worked out now, but as a manager, if I'm managing a fighter, you worry about training. You worry about winning this fight. I'm worried about you getting paid the most money you can get paid. That's my job for you. Because the more you make, the more I make. Mm-hmm. The more we all make. That's how it goes.
Right.
And I don't know how the contracts are written now, but hey, man, back in my day, it's like this. I'm the captain of the ship. I'm the fighter. I'm the captain of the ship. When I say this ship stops in anchors, it stops in anchors, and that's it. That's all. Everybody's out of a job. Mm-hmm. But why would you put everybody out of a job if you're winning? Right. And so it's all about how the people you have in your group are how trustworthy do you feel for them? You know, how much do they trust you? How much do I trust you? How much do I trust you and you? You know, why would you have them if you didn't trust them? I mean, Jesus, you know what I mean? You can't control the fighter doesn't have the time to control. And I hear this being done a lot in MMA, but watch. You already have a big job. As a fighter in MMA, you already have a big job. Your job is to win that fight. Your job is to win that fight without getting hurt. Your job is to win that fight without getting hurt so you can fight again. Why do you need to sell tickets? You know?
Yeah.
I don't get. Man, that takes out of your time. Any obstruction from your fight, because you're in the big leagues, any obstruction from that fight to sell tickets, to do this, to do that, man, it's not your job. You know? I'm not bagging, well, kind of am, but, you know, I'm not really, isn't that the promoter's job? Mm-hmm. Promoter's job is to promote fights. Promoter's job is to sell tickets. Promoter's job is to advertise you to sell tickets. You know, whatever, you know, and there's a lot of things that I don't see why they don't do anymore. You know, if I was a promoter of fights today, hell, when I promoted fights back, when I did the fights, when I had pro fights over here, guess what? I got a lot of free press. Not because I'm Tony the Tiger Lopez, but because I knew how to do it. I knew how to put people's names out there. I know how to put people's name in the newspaper. I know how to get radio shows to talk to you. You know what you do? You call them and ask them. It's that easy. I mean, you know, you have all these radio stations, all these TV stations. They're all looking for some kind of something to talk about.
Right.
They're always, everybody wants information on what's going on. If there's a big fight going on, let them know. Have a press conference. You know, so what? A press conference costs you what? $300, $400, $500 because you bring some sodas and some sandwiches for the press and people that come to the press. You have your whole line of fighters lined up, and you have it at one of the hotels. You have it in a conference room at a hotel. But guess what? Let's say there's 31, 43, 10, 13, and 58, and 4 out of the 6 come. How many people watch your stuff at night? How many people watch the news? You think your fighter needs to sell tickets? It's that simple. You know, so all you promoters out there it is. You know, when I had fights, when I was doing fights a while ago, a few years ago, that's what I did. I didn't have to pay anybody to put an ad in the paper. I didn't have to send fighters out to go sell tickets. That's my job. I'm the promoter. Dude, your job is to fight. You know, as a matter of fact, as a promoter, I really don't care if you win or lose. I just care if you fight. Because if you fight, you'll fight, and you fight hard. Guess what? You're going to fight again, partner. If you don't, bye, Felicia, I don't need you. You know, I'm trying to make money. So are you. So, okay, then I'll worry about selling the tickets. You worry about winning your fight. It's that plain and simple. But people got it all twisted up now. You got fighters selling tickets, and you got this and that, and I'm going, so when does a fighter get time to train? Exactly. When does a fighter get time to... Man, as a fighter, I really don't want to think about selling tickets. I want to think about... Oh. What the hell was that? Oh, that thing. I know it catches on. It catches on sometimes. Okay, go. You know... You know, and as a fighter, I don't want to worry about nothing. I want to worry about winning fights, not selling tickets.
Right.
You know, and I'm speaking for both the promoter and the fighter. You know, the promoter wants to sell tickets. I get it. Okay, do your job and promote. You know, figure out ways to get free press. It's not that hard. I just gave you some. You know what I mean? And as a fighter, concentrate on kicking that butt. Concentrate on losing that weight. You know, if you're walking around at 175. And you're fighting at 173, and you're still a little chunky, and you're doing okay, why don't you drop down to 165? See how well you do there. See how much more faster you get, how much more stronger you're going to be. Because you used to get hit by bigger guys, now you're getting hit by little smaller guys. It's not that hard.
Right.
I mean, you know, there's a lot of it. There's a lot to it. I mean, you know, I walked around at 160 in between fights. I started sparring with big guys. sometimes heavyweights. And then as my weight came down, so did my sparring partners. And the last person we spar with is a little guy. A lot of times we use Willie Jordan. And it took me 2 weeks, for the last 2 weeks before a fight. The whole week, I had to catch up to him because I'm used to these slower guys that were bigger than me. And now Willie's going he's like Manny Pacquiao. Hit me a million times before I get one off. It took me a whole week to catch him, but after I caught him, then that second week you're connecting again.
Right. And
then you get in there with the guy that's fighting at 130, and now he weighs 145 because he gained weight, and he's punching like this. Because you used to Willie going, and now this, you can make a miss all night long. That's part of training. That's part of boxing. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Right.
It really is, and
Right.
people don't get it. I don't. They're new breed of fighters, man. I don't get them.
Yeah. What another question came in that's asked that they've seen the boxing basics. They've seen all the basics. When are you gonna jump into the intermediate stuff? As far as different jabs, different punches, just different on the intermediate level.
We just did. The last one we did the slow jab, the step in power jab. We're gonna start from here on out with this intermediate, which we're still gonna do some of the beginning, but we're gonna use some of that to intermediate. Now is the time that if you're into boxing or you want to learn more about boxing, now's the time you might want to really start catching on. And if I was you and you're a fighter, you probably already know your footwork and all that stuff, and that's on you, that's fine. But now you're going to start learning something yourself. We're going to start doing side steps, left or right side. We're going to start feinting, faking. We're going to start doing all this stuff now. Stuff that most fighters don't know about. But this is ABC boxing back when I was a kid. But nowadays they don't use it anymore. They don't do it. No one does anything anymore. I mean, I'll tell you something. We're gonna learn how to move our head, not get hit.
There you go. That's always a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, look how many fighters, that don't move their head nowadays. I mean, what do they expect how they expect to talk when they get done? Whether you have 2 fights or 25 or 30 or 100 fights, how do you think your head's going to be when you get done? I mean, I'm not perfect, but I can still say a few syllables. You know what I mean? Sometimes. But you want to take care of your body.
Right.
It's your body. It's your brain. Shit. You need to take care of it.
Right.
And so now we're going to start getting into that. We're getting into defense. Again, the blocking, the parrying, all kinds of stuff. Some fighters are going, huh? What's parrying?
That's
because they don't show it anymore.
Yeah.
No one knows it. We're going to actually teach you how to fight a southpaw. And southpaw, well, obviously know how to fight right-handers because most people are right-handed. And we're just going to go through a lot of stuff. It's going to start getting interesting now. We're still going to go through some basics of the intermediate. Once we get past the basics of the intermediate, then we're going to start doing the sidestepping, blocking, parrying, you name it, we're going to start doing it. And then when we get into the pro thing, I don't want to give too much out on that one.
No.
So I'm not going to leave it, but we're really going to get into that one later on.
All right.
And then all the little stuff that people don't see or TV doesn't catch, and we're going to start doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before I ask the last question, is there any questions that have come up? No, nothing yet? Okay, last question. When or how many amateur fights should one do before they go, I think I want to go pro now?
Good question. I've seen some fighters have, I think maybe 30 or 20 and do really well. I had, who knows, I stopped counting after 100. But that was back in the days when you had a Junior Olympic Championship and you fought a whole week, all day until it started on Monday, ended on Sunday. And if there was 100 kids in that group, Sunday, to win that title, you had to have 2 kids left. That's it. So everybody had to fight 2 or 3, 4 times a day.
Wow.
I mean, it was crazy, but that's how they did it. Now the Golden Gloves is 2 days or something like that. It used to be a week-long tournament before. You know, so were the Junior Olympics. So were all the tournaments. But, you know, so I think as soon as you can make a man miss or make him pay, and you're getting pretty good at it, you know, it's up to you. Everybody's different. But, you know, as soon as you can make him miss or make him pay, 8 times out of 10, try it.
Yeah.
Turn pro.
There you go.
You know, you never know. You know, I see some guys do it less. I see some guys need more. You know, so it's everybody's individually is going to be individual. You know, everybody's different.
Right.
You know, so, but if you feel it, and if you got people telling you, if you got people telling you that they have a dollar sign on their head, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But you know, but if you're comfortable with it, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this is all great advice and great talking from Tony the Tiger Lopez. If you like what you hear and you like what you see, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, hit the like button, and we will continue answering these questions. And Tony will continue giving his advice and his opinion. And we will be doing this every Monday night at 8 p.m. and every Tuesday night for those of you in the Sacramento surrounding areas. Midtown Fitness and Boxing, 24th and J. If you want to get into some one-on-one with Tony, go ahead and come down there. We start at 8 o'clock at night, and usually goes for about an hour, little around there. And go ahead and send us your videos so we can critique those, as he said. And if you want to show up with a video on your phone, your iPad, or whatever, do that as well. But we will see you next week. For Tony the Tiger Lopez, I'm Glenn Spillman. Dan Kentz is our producer. Thank you very much.
Peace in the Middle East.